Pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to the November 4th Board of County Commissioners meeting. On my right is Commissioner Cook representing District 3, and on my two, and on my left is Commissioner Aaron Mays representing District 3, and I'm Bill Rippon representing District 1. Okay, first item.
Our first item is item 1, proclamation, presentation of award from the Kansas Emergency Management Association.
Morning. My name's Russell Stuckey. I'm the current president of the Kansas Emergency Management Association, and this is Lori Harrison, and she's the past president. We're here this morning to present the President's Choice Award. The President's Choice Award is approved by the KEMA, the Kansas Emergency Management Association Board of Directors, to honor a person or group or organization that has made a significant contribution to their agency, the emergency management profession, or our association. The President has the sole discretion as to the recipient of this award. And so Lori, being the past president, she chose who got this award last year. And so I'll let her say a few words of why she chose who she chose.
So this year's President's Choice Award was awarded to the Shawnee County Emergency Management. The KEMA, Kansas Emergency Management Association Conference, has been held in Topeka for the past 3 years, and these folks have done an amazing job being our host. They've worked with the conference planners to help coordinate honor guard and speakers for the opening ceremony. They've cooked for us. They set up pre-conference activities, including tours of KBI, the Capitol, and the Governor's Mansion. They've worked with American Red Cross to provide an opportunity for a blood drive at the conference. If you've ever held a conference in your jurisdiction or been a part of the planning team, you know how much the tiniest problem can throw a wrench at things. The cooperation of the Shawnee County Emergency Management team has helped the conference activities go off without a hitch. Thank you all so much for your hospitality and creativity with the pre-conference activities. And we have an award here for Shawnee County staff. Come on, guys. Start over here at Nelson. Thank you all so much for everything that you've done for KEMA. Appreciate your hospitality. Thank you.
Great job, guys. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Very nice.
They don't want
It's
to take
nice
it
for our
with them.
staff to get recognized. They do a great job and a tremendous service for Shawnee County. So, next item.
Next item is item 3, consent agenda.
I've moved for approval as presented.
Second?
Motion has been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item 4, new business, A, County Clerk, number 1, consider all voucher payments.
Commissioners, this morning there are vouchers that total $2,019,361.57. The highlights out of the voucher reports, the largest expenditure is our JADO allocation, which is $671,034.14, followed by pool cash, which is mainly payroll, $620,079.86. Also, our health insurance premiums for our employees of $203,388.36. The sewer districts which we administer are $107,955.99, And then finally, it's spread out across several departments, those being the building maintenance, public works, parks and recreation, and solid waste, which is the cartograph annual update, which was $93,252. I do not have any questions regarding the voucher report, and I would move for its approval.
Okay. Motion has been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Mace. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item 2, correction orders. Still are no correction orders, but over the weekend, all the data from that we certified to the treasurer, the new taxes for the 2019 tax year, all of that was taken care of over the weekend, and we had our notice from Cheryl Moeller in IT this morning that it was successful. So from here on, it's in Larry's hands, so it's not, he will take care. That would be Larry sending out all the bills, so I don't do that kind of stuff, so it's Larry's fault when the bills come out. So we still don't have correction orders, but we will have them as soon as the tax statements are ready to go. Item A3, public hearing and consider approval of resolution number 2019-80, exempting certain property owned by Global Grain LLC from ad valorem taxation for economic development purposes.
Good morning, Commissioners. Ashley Biegert, Assistant County Counselor and also the Chair of the Administrative Review Committee. I just wanted to give you a little context about what's before you this morning. The Kansas Constitution and state statute provides a mechanism for counties to adopt policies and procedures to exempt certain real property and land that's going to be used for businesses for certain purposes, for instance, for manufacturing articles of commerce. As such, Shawnee County has a resolution, 2002-9, that sets forth our policy and procedure for doing just that. After consideration of all of the factors in that resolution, the Administrative Review Committee met and they unanimously voted to recommend to you a 100% 10-year tax exemption on a portion of real property that is owned by Global Grain. And this property sits at 3251 Northwest Lower Silver Lake Road. Mr. Chris Haverkamp with Global Grain is here this morning to give you kind of some information about his business model and what it is that they do. But in a nutshell, this exemption request is for a processing facility for soybeans and other crops. And Global Grain intends to prepare and containerize the products and then freight them from the facility for international export. They intend to create 7 jobs within the first year and 20 jobs over the course of 5 years. And the total net benefit to Shawnee County and the city of Topeka is $462,013. This facility footprint encompasses 11.75 acres of the parcel. The entire parcel itself is about 33 acres and contains some ag land and a residential property or residential home, but that is not encompassed within the exemption request. It's only the 13.75 acres of that parcel that is attributable to the business. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions about the Administrative Review Committee report, and I'd turn it over to Mr. Haverkamp to discuss his business.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we open the public hearing at this point.
I'll second that. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon to open public meeting. This item. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Okay.
So good morning. Yeah, this is a bit of a unique property and a unique opportunity for me. Thank you, first of all, for hearing me and having me here today. Be happy to answer any questions that you may have if you'd like a brief overview of the business or anything I can help answer for the decision-making process. Yeah.
This is a soybean processing?
Yeah, so the initial intent is to actually purchase soybeans from area producers. Roughly 6 counties will produce about 22 million bushels of soybeans in this geographic region that we would pull from. So basically, kind of the I-70 area north of Manhattan and then east to state line on down. And that area is an area that we've been in business with producers for the last 23 years. So my primary business is Paragon Ag Advisors, where we do risk management, marketing, consulting for producers. And as a result of relationships that we've built over that time frame, we've engaged with several different exporting companies. And in the past, it really wasn't an opportunity in this market. The freight lanes and the values, freight costs just didn't present an opportunity. About 3-4 years ago, that started to change rather dramatically, and it all was on the advent of the Panamax size increase that they pushed through the Panama Canal. At that point, everything started to adjust as far as freight lanes are concerned. And so as we continue to see those values improve, one of our primary customers was a specialist in soybean export. So we started to look at the opportunity to potentially export out of the Northeast Kansas market. And that is our intent, is to actually purchase area soybeans. We would actually clean them, identify them. Eventually, we would go into a true product identification from the farm all the way through export. But initially, it would be just an aggregate of soybean purchases, cleaning, processing, then containerizing for export via the Edgerton Intermodal Facility just outside of Kansas City.
Thank you.
Just a couple of questions.
Sure.
Chris, can you talk to us a little bit? There was a presentation made at JADO, it's been quite a while ago,
Right.
where we approved an incentive for Global Grains as part of the economic development package. I know that your business model has had some shifts with the markets. What has changed since the presentation at JADO to today?
The primary shift has actually been the location. Initially, there was an intent to acquire the facility off of Lower Silver Lake Road. It was the old Cargill facility. Since that time, we've deemed that it would not be fit. That is a very aged facility, and there were some problems with that particular site. So we simply decided to try and locate a new area, and this is a greenfield site. So it was farm ground purchased, it's zoned in the right area. We're within a quarter mile, basically, of the original site, so it just became appropriate for us to move that site.
So this new site is going to be a completely new build,
It is, yes.
and the total amount of the cost of the new build, approximately?
About 2.5 million.
Okay. And then, just for clarification with our county councilor, if we're talking about an exemption for 10 years, the exemption is only for the new improvement, not for the original farmland.
Yes, that's correct.
And this has already gone through city planning and zoning and met with all the requirements?
Yes, we have been provided with the permits that Mr. Haverkamp has obtained from the city, and we feel comfortable that he's fulfilled that process and gotten all the requirements met.
Ultimately, how many jobs do you think you'll create with this?
Well, the 5-year projection right now is 20, and we also really like this site because it had the ability to expand. I mean, originally, we were going to be constrained to the site that was the old Cargill facility, but as it is now, we have the ability to grow in size of container capacity as well as grain accumulation, and coincidentally, it just borders right to the south of the BNSF rail. And with the 33 acres, long-term projection is we could put a rail spur in. If that were to be the case, we'd be looking at somewhere around 40 to 50 jobs. But at this point in time, it is a greenfield startup, so our projections are 20 at the end of 5.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, at this point, I would, if there's no other individuals, I guess, see if there's any other individuals that want to speak.
Does anyone else like to speak on this matter? I see none.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing and approve the tax exemption request.
I'll second that. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next item.
Item B, Parks and Recreation. Number 1, consider approval of request to award bid to Aquatic Control, Inc. for the application of an aquatic herbicide for the treatment of Eurasian water milfoil in Lake Shawnee at a cost not to exceed $103,800 with funding from the department's current operating funds and authorization and execution. Contract C 396-2019 for same.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jeremy Myers, Shawnee County Parks and Recreation. The item before you for the bids to award to Aquatic Control. We came to you in August ask to go out for bid. We received 3 bids. If you have the tabulation bid sheet in front of you, I do have Amera Environmental Services. They did not bid on the sonar Genesis that were required, that we asked for them to bid on. We also brought this to the advisory board, and they also wanted sonar Genesis for the Eurasian water milfoil. So that bid was eliminated. Then we went to Aquatic Control and EMS. EMS has done this the 2 prior times. They did not come in as the lowest bid. If you look at the bid sheet, the initial application was $61,700. What Aquatic Control did was they added 150 gallons of additional bumps. If we needed to do that, that is optional. So Aquatic Control was the lowest bid with $61,050, and then if we do need to add bumps, that would be $285 a gallon. So we talked to Richard Sanders. He said that our best bet would be to come in the spring of 2020 to do this application at Lake Shawnee. That's when we talked to Aquatic Control, and they said at this time that would be the best bet as well. So I would answer any questions that you may have.
No, well, go ahead.
Again, some hard-hitting journalism over the weekend from our Tim Rencher about the county awarding the bid to the highest bidder as opposed to the lowest bidder. But you're saying that Aquatic Control is the lowest bidder when you take into account that the $103,000 as opposed to $61,000 is due to the additional amounts if we need them?
Yes, yes. So EMS did not include in their bid, when we opened the bids, their additional bumps, where Aquatic Control added 150 gallons of bump application to their total bid. So that's how the total bid came out to $103,800. If I would have took 150 gallons times 288, it'd go over by about $1,100. So their actual total bid, if I'm comparing apples to apples, would be $104,900.
All right. So just want to make sure that we're clear that as to why the county, it would appear that the county is awarding the highest bid, but this is the most comprehensive and most competitive.
Yes, and we also did reference checks on Aquatic Control because they would be new to Shawnee County, as EMS has done that in the past, and everybody that we've talked to said they were very responsive, very professional, and everything worked out great.
Thank you.
In bidding, you don't always take the lowest bid, you take the best bid, and sometimes it just doesn't work that way. All right, was that a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Thank you.
Item C, corrections. Number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C 397-2019 with Community Solutions, Inc. to provide technical assistance and auditing services for Shawnee County Community Corrections in an amount not to exceed $100,000, funded by a Kansas Department of Corrections grant for the period of January 1, 2020 through December 31st, 2021.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tim Phelps, Shawnee County Department of Corrections. This is the final step, if approved, of establishing a project. It is a pilot project that Shawnee County Department of Corrections agreed to participate in, where the Kansas Department of Corrections has been trying to find a way to improve the fidelity of the use of an assessment tool to determine the level of risk that each of our offenders has, and then target those risks when we are conducting their supervision. So with your approval, we will spend 2 years fine-tuning and coaching and analyzing and auditing the processes that we use so that we can demonstrate strict fidelity to the tool. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have.
Any questions?
I have none.
I'll move that we approve.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor? Aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Item C2, consider approval of request to solicit bids for a 2019 sport utility crossover vehicle to replace a 2002 Ford Taurus, utilizing the remaining 2018 capital outlay funding of $27,832.
Good morning, Commissioners. Eve Kendall, Shawnee County Department of Corrections. December of last year, we were approved to purchase a new vehicle, a transport vehicle, a van for our transporting back and forth from the facility to the courthouse or where else we might need to go with it. Through our efficient bidding and so on and so forth, or receiving bids and so forth, we were able to save a little over $27,000 of that initial money. So we're requesting to go out for a bid for an administrative vehicle for our agency. The vehicle that we currently have is a 2002 Taurus that has seen better days. And because we go out of town, Wichita or wherever we might go, we need a reliable vehicle. And although it was good, especially in 2002 and 3, as the days go by, it gets a little less reliable. And we want to make sure that our staff stay safe. So we're requesting go out for bid and purchase a new vehicle that we would be able to use, and we would surplus a vehicle down through the line. So I'm stand for any questions you might have.
Any questions? I'll move that we approve.
Second?
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Next item.
Item D, Health Department. Number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C-398-2019, an update to the original memorandum of understanding with the Kansas National Guard 190th Air Fueling Wing at a closed point of dispensing location at no cost to the county.
Good morning, Commissioners. Craig Barnes, Health Department. The MOU that you have in front of you today is to update a former closed point of dispensing MOU that we had with the Air National Guard 190th Air Refueling Wing back in 2016. 2013. This is to signify the Health Department's name change that we had in 2016, update contacts, points of contact, as well as the licensed medical professionals that they have on site. A closed point of dispensing allows us to take in like vaccines, medical supplies in the case of an outbreak that we might have here in our community, and actually then give that to this organization. They will then put that vaccine and do that through their medical personnel through to their employees and their families. So it takes a little bit of the burden off of our health department staff when we open pods in our community to work with the public. So it is our goal to basically work with organizations in our community to make this as effective and efficient it is, to make sure that we get the medical supplies out to our community to respond adequately to an event if it arises. With that, I'll answer any questions that you might have.
How many organizations do we work with to do the dispensing?
We work with a lot of different organizations, both through open and closed pods. The two MOUs that you have before you are the two updates that we'll have to closed pods. So these will be the only two closed pods that we currently have. It is our goal to work with more organizations to alleviate the burden on health department staff and volunteers, and to make sure that we can cover a large percentage of the community by giving them the medical supplies that they do to work through their employees and their families. So currently, if you approve these two, we'll have two closed pods. The rest will be open, but we're working on trying to transfer those open pods and work with more organizations to have closed pods to cover more of the community efficiently.
Questions? I move that we approve.
Second?
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item D2, consider authorization and execution of contract C399-2019 with a memorandum of understanding with Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company at a newly identified closed point of dispensing location at no cost to the county.
Morning, Commissioners. Craig Barnes, Health Department again. Everything I just said applies again. This is just with a newly identified location with Goodyear Tire and Rubber to recognize them as a closed pod. This would then serve their employees and the employees' direct families. With that, I'd open it up to any questions that you might have.
I move that we approve.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Thank you very much.
Item E, Emergency Management. Number 1, acknowledge receipt of notification from American Medical Response that they will be increasing rates no more than 2.5% for fiscal year 2020.
Morning, Commissioners. Nelson Castile, Ambulance Compliance Officer. I am here in accordance with Contract 2007-2016. Each year, there is a process put into place where AMR is allowed to either increase or decrease the rates that they charge for the coming fiscal year. This would be for 2020. As you can see on the chart that I have down there, the first 2 years of the contract, the rates, the base rates were kept the same. In 19, which we are in right now, the rates were changed, and in 2020, they're asking for a rate change. We will likely not know the effect of the 19 until after the first of the year. We're always at least 4 to 5 months out before we get their audited financials, and they're not required to provide those until May 1st. So it takes a little bit of time to figure out on AMR's end and our end what that rate increase did. John Antrim, who's the regional director for AMR, is here, and I'll let him handle any of the billing and insurance and math-related questions here.
Good morning, Commissioners. Hopefully, we're not going to talk about math. I did go to school in Oklahoma, so we'll not hold that against me, okay? So, first of all, just want to thank you for allowing us to serve this community. We're going on close to 36 years now that we've been here. I also want to take some opportunity to publicly thank our employees for their hard work and dedication. This weekend, if you're not aware, we did have an opportunity to do a Fill the Ambulance food drive at Dillon's, and we were able to collect a little bit over 2,000 pounds of food, in which Dillon's is going to graciously match for us for harvesters for the upcoming season. So thank them for that, as well as Dillon's. So coming into this, as Nelson did suggest, we're coming into our 5th year of our contract, and this will be the second time that we've actually requested a rate increase. Per the contract, anything under 2.5% does not seek approval from the commission. So we have kept it at the 2.5% mark both times that we have came before you. When you look at the rates that are in front of you, I think it's important that you understand that approximately 50 to 55% of that rate that is sitting in front of you is written off. It's written off because of insurance contracts with Blue Cross and Blue Shield, Medicare, Medicaid, and those type of services that we're not able to collect those funds. For September, the contractual write-off was actually 57.15%. Another big chunk of that is 13 to 21% every month, and it just kind of fluctuates, is written off in uncompensated care. So that's taking care of people that do not have health insurance or any type of coverage whatsoever that we collect nothing on. So when you take the overall picture of things, our net cash collection per trip for the month of September was $364. So that's kind of what we're collecting on average for all of our trips. The reason that we have to request rates, obviously, the cost of business increases. Our employees receive, on a minimum, a 3% increase every single year. This year, it was significantly more. We increased our base salary for our EMTs by $1.50 an hour, trying to keep us competitive in the recruiting and retention world. We increased our paramedic salaries by up to $1 at the starting end, and all of our paramedic employees received a 5% increase. So this is why we're here in front of you today, to advise you of our intent of the rate increase.
Questions?
I don't have any.
Does this require
Acknowledge receipt.
okay. I move that we acknowledge the receipt.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
Next item.
Item 5, administrative communications.
We'll take this time to have any comments from staff.
Morning, Commissioners. Bill Crow, Facilities Maintenance Director. Received a request late last week from a James Evans at the Federal Building. Would like to discuss potentially parking issues with the county commissioners.
Morning, Commissioner James Evans, U.S. Attorney's Office. Over in the Carlson Federal Building, we're getting ready to undergo large parking garage reconstruction that's going to displace all the employees in the building. I am seeking to find or locate about 30 parking spaces just for the U.S. Attorney's Office only, and asking that we be granted permission to park in the county parking just to the east of the building for a period no greater than 180 days to allow for 25 to 30 personnel to park and still have access to our building to accommodate those attorneys and personnel that we have working in the U.S. Attorney's Office.
How many spaces do we currently have over there, or vacant spaces?
This morning, I counted 27 vacant spaces in that lot on Monroe.
27, and you're
Yeah.
requesting how many?
20 to 25 would work.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Bill, we presently don't lease out or rent out any spaces to people other than county employees, do we?
It's county employees only, or this, anybody at the courthouse, the state employees for the courthouse.
And anytime we have work that's done on any of the parking around the courthouse, whether it's in the alcove or the west parking, we displace those individuals to...
To that lot.
Okay. And so if we were to do this and something was to come up with the west parking lot, the alcove, or the north parking lot, then we would have no place for our employees.
That's correct.
Okay.
But any additional parking that we have is in that lot.
And do we presently have any codes or resolutions on not allowing outside personnel to
To
use?
my knowledge, no. It's pretty much an internal policy that it's county-only staff parking there.
Okay. Might ask the county counselor, but it would seem to me that by doing this, we might be opening up a Pandora's box as to who we're leasing to or who we're not leasing to, whether it's in the federal courthouse or otherwise. I understand the request, but also potential liability that if a vehicle was to be damaged or injured, the claim against the county by the U.S. Attorney's Office. Again, got to put the county counselor on the spot.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jim Krause, Shawnee County Counselor. Yeah, all of those issues are present if we open it up to outside employees. One additional issue I will bring up is we are currently negotiating to have the northwest parking lot redone. And we're currently targeting next spring around April 1st as a possible commencement date. So we know that whenever that does occur, and that's what we're working toward, we will need those spaces for the people that park in the northwest parking lot. So that's the best information I have now is April 1st.
And how many spaces will that displace?
That's a total of 32 spaces out of that
32
lot.
spaces.
So it's, in the parking in that Monroe lot, you know, there's times that there might be 40 vacant spaces there, times it might be 10. It kind of varies, but as a rule of thumb, there's a couple of dozen there pretty much every day of the week.
We also use that parking lot if there's trainings or other individuals that need to use the courthouse.
That's correct.
And how long will this, is it a mill and overlay we're doing in there, or?
Well, I think you're
Exact-
Yeah, the resurfacing.
Oh, yeah.
Northwest parking lot.
Just remove concrete.
Yeah, we have to remove the concrete.
Oh, it's concrete.
It will not take as long as the original project because the subsurface work has already been done. There was substantial subsurface work that needed to be done that does not need to be redone, but the concrete does need to be removed and repoured. And we're looking at a scenario where we would agree to not use the parking lot for 28 days after it's poured to give it more than adequate time to cure.
But it would also talk time to remove the concrete and then.
They're using a time frame of approximately 90 to 120 days to do that project, once they commence. And that's one thing I've been insisting on, is that we have a defined period, so we don't open it up and then leave it open and no work gets completed. We want it to commence and go to completion once they start.
You know, I like being a team player, but it sounds like our lot's gonna be out of commission for quite a while, and it almost the same time period as what you need it. I don't know.
There's farther away, but the city of Topeka does have some parking that is to the south of the Holiday Building. And so I don't know if you might contact the city of Topeka. Commissioner Mays, do you know what that lot is or how the city uses that lot? Or
I'm not sure that they really use it much at all. It's a very large lot, but it is probably 2-3 blocks away.
That's a longer distance, but that may be a better option, is that it's a much larger lot, and it's the one that's south of the Holiday Building.
There's also a lot just to the east of the law enforcement center, one more block to the north, that the city has that gets very little use. So I don't know if that can help you or not.
I would maybe encourage you to seek out the city manager or talk to their office to see if that might be able to be used. Again, we want to be a team player, but.
No, it looks like we're gonna be torn up, and we may be looking for some space to park people, so.
Sorry.
All right, thank you.
No, thank you very much.
Good morning, Commissioners. John Fisher, 3517 Southwest Wanamaker Court. I am a veteran. Tomorrow is a very important day in our nation and Topeka. Projections are 10% of Shawnee County will vote. I challenge anyone hearing my voice to be forthright and do their civic duty as veterans overseas fighting men and women to get a privilege as the commissioners are doing their civic duty of being a commissioner. I got my ballot on September 23rd, pre-voted, and know who I'm going to vote for, because I don't like to be going down the chute and find at the last minute something I didn't know happened. I've already voted. I would like to challenge Shawnee County to be an example of voting and go out and do what your moral and conscience tells you to do and vote. Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Larry Moss, Shawnee County Treasurer. Since Ms. Beck threw me under the bus, sort of. No, she did it. She's done a great job. We think we're in a position to start mailing tax statements next week. So barring any complications, you should see those in the mail sometime next week.
And I'm sure all will rejoice.
Yes.
Yeah,
And then I'll start reminding you to pay the bill too, so. All right, thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Mays?
Nothing for me.
I really don't have a lot, other than, just as John indicated, I think that it is important for us to go vote, and look forward to acting as the Board of Canvassers next Monday.
Thursday.
Next Thursday.
Thursday, yeah, Thursday, yeah.
Next Thursday.
Thursday.
Thank you.
Well, I attended the football game at the Sunflower Sheen. I won't say who I was for, but it was a good game. I ended up sitting in the student section. I will say they were very well behaved, and they were into it. So it was a good afternoon. On a sadder note, we did lose one of our Shawnee County family this last Friday, Officer Purcell, who works for the Department of Corrections, and our thoughts and prayers go out to her family. So that's all I have. Meeting adjourned.
And we